At approximately 2:20 a.m. on Tuesday, September 20th, officers were dispatched to the first block of Cliff Street for a shots fired call. Upon their arrival, they learned that the victim, 2-year-old Kai Turner, had sustained a gunshot wound to the head as he was laying in bed. Battle Creek Police, Fire, and Life Care EMS personnel attempted to perform life-saving measures at the scene, and Kai was transported to Brownson Methodist Hospital in Kalamazoo. Despite the efforts of first responders and medical personnel, Kai Turner passed away as a result of his injuries later that day. In the initial hours of the investigation, officers identified a black SUV to have been the suspect vehicle which the gunshots originated from. The vehicle was found later in the day on the 20th in the area of Wagner Drive and was found to have been reported stolen on 9/18, 2 days prior to the shooting. As the investigation continued, BCPD received numerous silent observer tips aiding in the investigation. On Thursday, 9/22, BCPD personnel executed search warrants at multiple locations throughout the city. Those searches resulted in the recovery of firearms, ammunition, and other property suspected to be used in the homicide. As a result of the dedicated work of BCPD personnel and the cooperation of the Battle Creek community, 3 suspects were identified as being involved in the murder of Kai Turner. Those suspects are in their mid to late teens and are in custody at the Calhoun County Jail and Calhoun County Juvenile Home. We are submitting warrant requests to the Calhoun County Prosecutor's Office for open murder and multiple weapons offenses. We would like to thank our fellow law enforcement agencies who assisted in the apprehension of these suspects, especially Michigan Department of Corrections, Probation and Parole, and the Detroit area Michigan State Police Fugitive Team. We sincerely hope that the arrests of these suspects provide some measure of solace to the family as they deal with this unimaginable loss. At this time, I'll take any questions you have. Mike?
Chris, were these 3 individuals in the same car, and was there more than one gunman?
They were in the same car. We do suspect that multiple guns were involved.
So multiple?
Yes.
Yeah.
You mentioned cooperation with Detroit. Was one of the suspects arrested there?
Yes. Late last night, one of the suspects was located in a house in the Detroit area.
Is there any update on who the intended targets were? Because I know earlier this week you guys didn't know.
We suspect we know who the intended targets were, and it was not Kai Turner or his mother.
Was the intended target residing in a different apartment in that home?
That would be accurate, yes.
Was Kai on the first or second floor of that triplex?
Second floor.
So one suspect was arrested in the Detroit area. Where were the other 2 arrested?
Here in Battle Creek.
Are you prepared to identify any of them?
Not at this time.
Any of the ages?
Charges will be submitted to the prosecutor's office for their review. Upon that time, they'll be arraigned at a later date.
Can you give the ages of them?
I'm not going to comment on their ages at this time.
How important was the public outreach to being able to make an arrest in this case?
Public outreach is immensely important in any homicide investigation or violent crime investigation. I think the outrage from the community with this specific crime was significant, and that's why we saw such an outpouring of information, people willing to help and wanting to help in bringing these suspects to justice.
All right, at this time I will talk about any potential motive for the 3 that were arrested and the people they targeted.
I'm not going to comment on motive at this time.
It was just a single gunshot wound to Kai's head, no other gunshot wounds?
Yes, he only sustained 1 gunshot wound.
Are you expecting any arraignments today?
Not today.
You know, you can can see at least 10 gunshots in the front of the house. Is there evidence to suggest there's more than 10 gunshots?
I would have to get with my crime lab about that. I'm not sure exactly how many gunshots they confirmed.
And this is obviously a horrifying case. It happened early Tuesday morning, and the fact that just in a few days you have the people you believe are in custody for this, what's your reaction to not only a case that's disturbing, but the quick arrest?
Well, as I said, the assistance and aid from the community was amazing. People wanted to see justice for Guy Turner, and the work that our investigators, our detectives, I mean, really the entire department, the officers on the scene, their dedication, the amount of hours that these investigators put in, and man, the drive to really wrap this investigation up and find our suspects was amazing, and it's a great pleasure for me to be able to work with these fine folks.
You mentioned the vehicle used in the crime was stolen. Was any other evidence, weapons, ammunition, were you able to show that that was either legally or illegally obtained?
I'm sorry, in the vehicle?
When you made the arrest, you had said that the vehicle was stolen. Do we know anything about the firearms, or whether there was more than one, if they were stolen, anything like that?
We do have multiple firearms that were recovered. We are still in the process of following up on the investigation from those weapons.
Sorry if you mentioned this already. The male arrested in the Detroit area, we see the juvenile involved?
No, he was not.
And all three were arrested yesterday?
No. 2 of the 3 were arrested yesterday.
When was the third arrest?
The 3rd would have been Wednesday.
They've been cooperative with the investigation, and witnesses been helpful too?
Witnesses have been cooperative. As far as the suspects, I won't comment on their involvement.
Open murder and weapons charges, various weapons charges for all 3 of them?
Yes.
Is there any concern for people that are still living in the neighborhood if the person who was a target, if they're still there, is it possible that that person's presence could cause danger for the wider part of the community, having someone targeted living there?
I can only comment on the actions of these suspects that we were investigating. I don't know the full extent of those who were targeted, any issues they might have with others.
But again, the public really played an essential role, like really helpful in
Yes. Yeah. We got numerous silent observer tips, and in addition to that, people calling directly into the police department. So we're very thankful for those folks that came forward.
Do you have anything to say, I mean, for this grieving family, I mean, the mother of this 2-year-old, sleeping and
Right.
a child like this, I mean, for people who are watching this and, think of their own kids in a situation like this, what would you say?
Right. There's nothing you can say. There's no putting yourself in that person's shoes. There's no way we can comprehend what that mother and that family's going through. As a parent, like I described it earlier, the outrage that the community felt, it was felt here. We were outraged here, and that was part of the motivation and the drive that these investigators put forward in finding these suspects.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, not at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.